Okay, that's good. Yeah, I started the recording. Okay, let's begin with today's session with arrays. Okay, so this is not different to comparatively what we have learned earlier, but especially even in schools and college time, I think you might have heard about arrays, but we'll get back to this arrays now as well. So what we're trying to do, Python arrays. Python does not have a built-in support for arrays. We don't have something like an arrays or something like that, but Python list can be used instead. So what we're trying to do, arrays are used to store multiple values in one single variable. For example, like cars, okay? I'm picking up like Ford, Volvo, and BMW. So what we're trying, creating array containing cars names. So it's when I say print, I'm defining the cars in the first place and then print the cars. Okay. So for example, what you're trying to do is you want to get the values of the first array. So it's treating as a 0, 1, and 2. Okay. It's of like more or less like an single row with the 3 columns, right? So we can, as we can say, it's like uh, yeah, it's a single row array, I would say. So if I want to pick the first element of this array, okay, what I'm trying to do is cars of 0. So 0 will be the 4 if when I want to print it. So we get the value 4. Just in case if you want to modify the value of the first array. So what I'm trying to do is cars of 0 and changing it to Toyota. And then when I print it, so what I get is instead of the Ford, Volvo, and BMW, I get as a Toyota, Volvo, and a BMW. It's been modified or the replaced. So let's see, returning the number of elements in an cars array. Now, how many elements are there? So what I've assigned is length. Length is nothing but the length of this cars. When I say print it, what it's saying is 3. As I say 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, but the number of elements are 3. So even though it starts with 0, it counts. So there are other ways also. If I want to assign, I can say cars equals to Ford, cars equals to cost 1 equals to Ford, 2 equals to Volvo, and 3 equals to BMW. I can use in this way also. When I say Ford of like an print car 1 like Ford, car 2 will be like a Volvo, and 3 will be like BMW. So in this format also we can assign generally assigning the values. So what we're trying to do is an array is a specific variable which can hold more than one value at a time. If you have a list of items, a list of cars, examples what we have given, that's what the example which we're taking, and storing the cars in a single variable could be like, so we are setting as like in single variables, like in 1, 2, and 3. So let's see like loops within the arrays with the for loops. What we're trying to do is looping array elements. You can use the for loop as we have studied earlier in the previous class, like in for loop, for in loop to loop through all the elements. So, and also print each item in the cars array. So I've assigned as cars Ford, Volvo, and BMW, and cars in for X in cars. That means initially it picks up Ford. Okay, but okay, let's run this. What it is trying to do. So it is not picking up. He's not picking up the Ford. The reason behind is we have replaced it in the earlier stage. Okay, so that's what it is trying to do it here. So we have replaced the first one, car 0. So that's what the thing it's trying to do it. So instead, what we are supposed to do it is we are supposed to use this Toyota or here, because in the sequence we are running all these statements, right, one by one. So let's use it for Toyota. So it tries to memorize the things what we have utilized in the previous session, like in previous example. That's what it's trying to push it out. So as we replaced earlier, so modified. So that's what it kept in the buffer. So in general, when we try to assign like in 3 values and print the values, so we get the 3 values. And just in case if I want to add in like a Tesla, okay, this time, and let's see what will try what it's trying to print. So X is assigned, so X, so this time let's push it to the other line. So run it and run. So X in cars and print of X. So it's taking as 3. So cars being okay. There is a problem is why, because we have assigned cars over here, right? So that's what the thing it is picking up. So that's where it is picking up, like cars of, okay, let me assign over here. Okay, where should I assign? I can assign somewhere. Let me add in over here. Okay. Yeah, that's what the problem is. So it has taken in the buffer in the earlier stages, like cars we have assigned like entire Volvo and a BMW, right? So that's where the thing. I'm just trying to add in on the fly, like just putting a comma and then Tesla. That's the reason it's not picking. So we need to assign to the array. So otherwise it won't pick it up. Or else the other way around, we need to append the value to this one. There are few examples which I'm going to see in the next one. Like here, if I say, so here, X in cars and print X. So it's starting with, okay, again, let's see, it says title, when the BMW again. What is X? Did we assign anything? Yeah, X is the length. So that's one more thing, written the number of elements, and X is the length. So previously X has been stored as a value 3. That's one more thing. It's storing in the buffer. So that's one of the thing. And just in case, if I add in one more line and say this one, right? So X equals to length again, this some more. Okay, so return the value.
Would not affect. It's the for loop is going to take alias name again.
Okay. Yeah.
Give it anything else. It won't affect.
So I meant to say, I'm looking for why it is not, and I meant to say why it is not picking up Tesla. That's the thing, you know.
So because cards you have mentioned in capital C. Roll up.
Did I? Yeah. That's a problem. Yeah, you're right. Good point, man. Yeah, good point. So that's a point. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I didn't focus on that bit. Okay, that's good. So since we assigned as cars equals to Toyota and assign, and length will be the 4, however, and now this time I've assigned this is also an example. Actually, this like I can say the cars also out of told here, but that's okay. But I'm just trying to say. Uh, so here I would have said print of the cars over here. Okay, and yeah. So just I'm trying to utilize the loops for loops. So print a in array cars, and then just a minute. Yeah. So I'm using the for loops and then printing the a. Okay, just a minute. Yes. Sorry for that. So here we got the loop, right? As we are trying to utilize the for loop, it goes to goes in the iterative approach for a in cars and print a. That's what. Sorry. Yeah, I'm muting. Sorry for that. Okay. So here, what we are where we are up to? Okay, let's. Are we using the recording? Yeah. So we are using the loops over here to the existing array, and it will trying to print the values out of the for loop. So just in case, I want to add array elements. Okay, adding the array elements, you can use the append. Okay, append function where cars dot append of Honda. This time when I run it, so print cars. So you got Toyota, Volvo, BMW, Tesla, and Honda. Okay, so we have added these Honda at the end. So there are multiple functions to these arrays. Okay, for example, print cars. So you print it, and now just in case you want to remove an element like a cars dot pop one, right? You want to remove it. So just I say cars dot pop one will be like an 0 and 1. So title will be 0 and a Volvo is a 1. So Volvo has been removed, right? So let me see if it's still recording. Okay. So here what will happen is just in case if you want to print the cars, you can also see what are the elements inside this. Okay. So I get Toyota, Toyota, BMW, Tesla, and Honda, and Volvo is gone. Why? Because we have removed it. And this time, just in case if you want to remove BMW, so instead of the pop function, we can use a remove as well, right? You can also say cars dot remove and also specify the value. And when I say print the cars, so this time we get Toyota, Tesla, and the Honda. Why? Because BMW has been removed. So we can use either pop or the remove, right? There's a lot of methods to utilize for the array methods. Okay, there's an append where we can add it, clear to remove, and copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop as we discussed, and remove, reverse, and sort. Okay, so if someone wants to utilize these functions, they can keep practicing. Just replace this remove with the clear or copy or something like that. Then try to play around. Then we can achieve this array methods. Okay, so let's add some more information. So as I told you, like Python does not have any built-in support for arrays, but Python list can be used instead. That's what we have done in this example. Okay, so the next bit, what we are trying to discuss over here will be Python scope. Okay, so what we are trying to do over here. So we're talking about the scope. A variable is only available from inside the region it is created. Okay, this is called scope. So for example, what we are trying to do over here is, we have already discussed the functions, right? So define my function, x is assigned to like a 300 print x. And when you call the function, right? So it use 300. So the same thing, and that too a variable, which is, that means we are assigning a value 300 to variable x. Okay, inside the region, it's inside the function. Okay, so this is what we are trying to say, and of course we got few more examples, and and also it says local scope. So this is local to this function. And a variable created inside the function belongs to the local scope of that function and can only be used inside that function, right? So let me give one more example how it works, right? So let's look at this example. So there is a fair bit of difference between these two. Def my function x equals to 300 and print x. Okay. So here what I'm trying to do is the same thing, and I'm going to call one more internal function, def my inner function print x and mine. So this time also return the same thing, but where is this? Yeah, so we still have 300. So I'll explain you one more with one more example. So let's see what it is trying to do. So functions inside a function. So what we have done is here is, so this is one set. Okay. So comparatively, so we got a function over here in the previous example, right? This is one function. So here we got my function and also my inner function. So even though if I utilize def minor function print x, so it is going to use 300 when you call this minor function, and at the end of the day, it's going to utilize the 300 only and then print it. So what it says, an explanation of the example above. So the variable x is not available outside of the function. Yeah. So it's not available outside, just in the inside, but it is available for any function in. So what I mean to say is, if you're using x equals to 300 outside of the definition, then you can't use it. It should be inside. Okay. So in the same case where we are utilizing x equals to 300 and we're defining one more internal function, then we can reuse it. Okay. It's like an local variable and can be accessed from a function within a function. So it's like a function within a function, like an, it's an, I would say internal area. So so here this function is ending up over here, and internally there is one more function, the highlighted one. So let's take one more example, like an yeah. So that's all with this one. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, here x equals to 300. Okay, so I think that's about the function only. So let's talk about the scope. A variable created in the main body of the Python code is a global variable and belongs to the global scope. So like x equals to 300, okay, this has been defined outside of the function, and define my function of x. So print. So we are talking about the variable which has been defined outside. So this has been 300 and printing x over here. And next, what we're trying to do is you're trying to call the function again, and x value is already 300, and then print x. So there are two things which you need to understand. What is the scope of the value, right? And what are the areas where it can be used? That's a purpose now. So variable created in a main body of the Python code is a global variable and belongs to the global scope, and global variables are available from within the any scope, and global and local. So there is one more example, you don't need to worry, which I'm going to give in this below section. So variable created outside the function is a global and can be used anywhere. So this is what the main intention is. Okay, outside of the function is global. Okay, so that is the main purpose which I'm trying to utilize. So x equals to 300. Okay, and defining the function and printing it, that's for 300 when you call the function, and outside print x again will be 300. So this print will be for x, and this is what the section where you utilizing the function. We're calling the function and printing the value. So let's pick up one more example here, right? So the same thing, 300, but here what I'm trying to do is x equals to defining as 300, and define the function x equals to 200 and print. So this time when I say first time 300, it will print 200. it's like first it said 300, then x equals to 200. So when I say print x, it will print 200 first. Then next time, since x equals to 300 is a global one, as I said, right? That is what I mentioned, right? A variable created outside the function. So x equals to 300. So next time when I say my function and go back and come inside, so at the end of the day, so here until here to here, let's be careful. So until here to here, x equals to 300, and when I say print x, it is not printing 300, it's printing 200. Why? Because it will pick up the value x equals to 200 only first time. And once it finish off the function, then it's like, okay, what it's a print x. So this time when I say print x, it will pick up the global variable of 300. So that is what it's trying to do here, right? So that's the reason we get 200 and 300. So there's a difference. So there's one more example. So here I'm not defining anything outside the definition. Okay. So def my function and global x and x equals to 300 and my function. And then finally print x, right? So this is, let's see what I'm trying to do. So we just need to understand what is a global keyword. Okay. If you need to create a global variable but are stuck in a local scope. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not putting outside the definition of the function, but I'm putting inside, but I'm adding a keyword like x. That means even though x is inside the function, I can call it as a global where I can use outside the function also. So little bit tricky to understand, but let me give this example. Okay. So here, what I'm saying is x equals to 300, right? So this is the best example to understand, defining my function and global x. So what is happening is here is when you say x equals to 200, so this time, so it is printing my function and outside. So until here it's a function, right? It's all one function, but it is not printing to 300. Why it's printing 200 in the sense, as I said, it's global. So I'm utilizing this. What it is trying to do is 200 is being replaced with 300 is being replaced with 200. Why? Because I've used global function. So it's only for the purpose, like if I want to utilize a variable, but it is within the function and it can be utilized outside of the function also. So I want to utilize this value outside of the function, and then you can say global. Otherwise, you don't need to. Just in case if I remove the global and all, then this thing, just in case if I remove this, it won't work out. It will be utilizing only 300 if I remove this, right? So I can read out what we are trying to achieve. Use the global keyword if you want to make a change to a global variable. So to change the value of a global variable inside a function, refer to this example. Okay, this is what I'm trying to do. So these are all a little bit of areas where you need to understand, like, and how you can utilize a variable inside the function and outside the function. So that's what we're trying to utilize it. So in the future examples, we'll get to know how we can utilize in a better way. But this is one of the example for the variables, global variables. So next we talk about the modules. So when we talk about the modules, Python modules are simple a program logic or a Python script. So that can be used for a variety of applications or functions. Okay. So let me comment it so that when you try to run it, it won't reflect the code. So we can declare functions, classes, etc. in a module also. For example, I'm going to with simple examples over here, like a Python built-in modules. Some of the most common and most useful built-in modules like an OS, maths, random, and date time. Okay, we'll use OS at the next examples. But for example, maths module, if you want to use import maths, so we need to import this module. we need to use this command import. And then some of the most important mathematical functions are defined in the maths module, okay, in Python. So the following is an example. So pi, you might have heard pi in your high school, like in print math of pi. So pi is nothing but 3.14. That's a value which has been assigned. So that's the reason when you say print math dot I, pi value will be, it's like a fixed value 3.1415, right? So this is the math. So just if you want to utilize like a random, how we can utilize the random module. So let's say random module in Python, right? So import random this time. So print random dot random in the sense, so function in the random module generates a pseudo random number. It's a random number, it will pick it up. Okay, it doesn't means to pick said okay one value, but it will generate the value between 0.1 and 1. So that's a specialty. The following example shows how we can use the random in a program. When I say import random and then print random dot random function, so it gives a random value. So this time 0.80, right? If I run it again, 0.21. If I run it again, 0.226, again 24. That means it the value will be in between 0.0 and 1.0. That's a specialty, right? So it picks the random value irrespective, but within the range with 0 and 1. The two in the floating type, like 0.1433 or whatever, right? So that's the advantage. So let's pick one more, like a date and time, how we can utilize the date and time function also. So import date and time, and this time print date time dot now. So it will print the current date and time. So current date and time, it is like an Australian standard, like a 358. So if you run the same code in the IST, it will pick up the IST standard time. Okay. So what it is trying to do is like an year, and then the month and the date and the time, and also the seconds and this microseconds. Okay. So these are all related to the modules. So let's take one more example. As I said, we want to utilize this OS function, right? So as I said initially, like we check the math random date time, and we're talking about the OS. So before getting into OS, I need to talk about the files. For example, I got a text file, right? I got a text file over here, examples.txt. Okay. I've entered something, file input output or something like that. I've entered some information into this text file. Okay. And I've stored in a directory. Okay. Example.txt. I got a file. It's like random information in the text file. Okay. And what I'm trying to say is o.open and the file name. And it just, if you want to open the file, you just need to utilize this function like an open and the file name. If you want to write something, you can say comma write. And if you want to the same thing, if you want to close a file, you can close it. So what I'm trying to do over here is, for example, one example I'm saying import OS. Okay, assigning fd equals to gfd.text. I'm giving some name, and what I'm saying is open the file, write the word hello, and close it. Okay, that example.txt is a different example, but this is one of the different example. Like you got a what I'm trying to do is open a file, write the word hello, then close it, then read it. If I want to do this, okay, and run it, see, so it has created a file on the fly. So what it is trying to do, let me see. So what is the name of the file? gfg.text, right? So that is what the file name is. And it did open in the right permission mode, and it has typed in hello and close it. And then it has written, and in return, it opened up the file and it has printed the also, okay, at over here. when they say print text over here, so file dot read is we're trying to read it. Just in case, if I change it to hello to welcome, for example. So let's see what will happen. Okay, and this here also will use welcome, right? Let's run it. See, so on the fly, what happens is welcome. The file name is the same. And just in case, if you want to change the file name to May 15th, okay, and welcome to Python session. So the same thing, if I utilize here or here as well, okay, I'll come to this area also. But before that, so what I'm trying to do is p open is similar to open, like an open function. Okay, so what it is trying to do is write it and close it and then open it up. So p open provides a pipe of the gateway of the access to the file directory. Okay, so what it is trying to do is when I run it, see, welcome to the Python session. So whatever the matter what I've given within the string, okay. So what it is trying to do is it did opened up and it has written the text, what it is been given, writing, then closed it, and also it read it also. That means it showed to us. So this is what we are trying to do is, so when we use the import OS, that's an advantage. And the name of the file also, see here it has created in the name of the file May 15 on the fly just now. Okay, May 15th. So earlier when I give this GFG, so this is what the GFG welcome. So when you want to change the file, you can change the file name over here. So this is a text file, right? So instead I can say example 15 also, for example, example 15th, or like on May 15th, and welcome to the Python session week 5, right? So let's say run. See, so what it is trying to say is file, it has written it and also read it, right? So here there's another way. What we're trying to say is instead of open, there's a way os.popen. Okay, it also does the same thing like in file.write. Okay, we can do in this format also, right? So one more thing, what it is trying to do is a file not closed, show in the next function. Yeah, it's not yet closed. So we open the file over here. In this case, we haven't closed it. So there's an option like file.close to close the file, right? See, the file is still open here, right? So we haven't closed it. So we are closing it manually, but generally file.close is a function, file.close, right? So let's count how many values in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 25 is nothing but it is trying to write the uh, number of characters in it. Okay. So that's what, let's say, yeah, welcome to Python week 5. That is for this bit. Okay, be open. So just to understand that what is the advantage of import OS. So when we use the import OS, uh, we will be able to open the file and we will be able to write the information into the file, and we'll be able to read the information from the file also. So these are all nothing but some of the modules, uh, built-in modules in Python. Okay, OS, math, random, date, time, some of the most common and useful built-in modules. So let's go to some other examples. Okay, so for example, so far you learned like about while loops and for loops, and also uh, the functions as well, right? Let's see some examples. For example, get a number from user manually, right? So this is a comment, so don't worry about that. So num int of input, enter your favorite number. Okay, so when I say enter your favorite number when I run it, so what is happening is enter your favorite number. If I say 5678, enter, it is giving us 8765. 8765 in the reverse number. So what's happening over here is, so it's whatever the number we have given, it's been assigned to num. Okay, initial value is a is set to null initially. So num is the value which has been assigned, right? So test dot test underscore num equals to 0. This we are trying to utilize in the loop over here. Okay, so in the while loop. So while num greater than 5, num is nothing but, just in case if I want to put a comment over here. So what it is trying to say is whatever the number which you have given 5678 is greater than 0. Yes, the condition is true. Yes. So the logic here is remainder equals to what's the logic behind this? We are going to divide the number by 10. What will happen if you're going to divide the number by this number by 10? So when we try to divide the number 5678 by 10, the value will be, right? So 567.8, right? So what you're trying to do here is whatever the value over here, 8. So the remainder. So remainder equals to num percentage 10, right? 10. So here we are going to get the 8th value. 8 into 10 will be 80. Okay. So for example, the reason here is first time test num we have set as 0. We have initially set as 0. So the first time 0 into 10 will be 0 plus the remainder. Remainder will be here 8. So in this section, what will happen is 0 into 10 will be 0 plus 8, whatever we got from the remainder. So that will be 8. So test num will be the very first time it will be 8, right? It will be 8. So next what we are trying to do is num equals to num percentage 10. Okay. So here again, so it is going to utilize this one 567, right? So next time what will happen is next time it will pick 567, right? So next time it will pick 567, right? So this is a loop, right? So this all comes into the while loop. Next time it will pick 567, and when you use 567, what will happen? 567 greater than 0. Yes, 567 by 10 will be again 56.7, right? So then next time again it will pick as 7, right? So this time 7 into 10, 70 plus the remainder, right? This is what it will happen, right? 78, right? So let's say sorry, test num equals to, sorry, test num, last time test num, right? Yeah, so test num was 8 plus, so in the second iteration, sorry, in the second iteration we have test num, right? So test num will be 8 into 10, right, plus the remainder, over the remainder will be 7, right? So this will be equals to 80 plus 7 will be 87, will be 87. So the logic will continue. In the next iteration, what will happen is, so num is nothing but here num is 567. 567, it's like a divided by 10. Whatever the value here we get is only 56. Okay. So here there is a difference. So if you need to know the percentage and slash. Okay. So when I say 567, //10 will be like a, here will be 56. Okay. So what will happen is next time it will go 56 here. 56 is greater than 0. Yes. And 56 by 10 will be again 5.6. Right. So this time 5.6. Right. So here the whatever the 6 will be there remainder. So here this time it will say 87. So whatever the test num we have is 87. 87. Okay. 87 into 10. So the value is 10 plus the remainder value is 6. Okay. So this time what it is does is 87 into 10, 870, 870 plus 6, right? 876. So it is now first time it has become 8 and next time 87, next time 876. So again, what we have here is 5 by 10. Again, it will be 5 by 10, or what was the num value? Num value is sorry 56. So 56 by 10. So we got only 5, right? So 5 goes here. 5 greater than 0, yes, right? 5 by 10, right? So the 5 by 10 or whatever here it becomes as 0.5, right? So 0.5 is a remainder value. So remainder will be equals to whatever the value 5, num 5% is 10. And here this time what will happen is the same loop continues, like 876 into 10 test num. The last value was 876 into 10 will be 8760, right? So this will be equals to 8760 plus whatever the value remainder of 5. Okay. So I'm just giving this example value over here, so don't get confused. So here it will become like 8765. So this particular program, what it is trying to do is, what you're trying to do is just do a percentage, then use the value like in test num as one of the variable, 0 into 10 plus the remainder. Next time test num will be it keeps on increasing. Next time it will be 8, next time it will be 87, next time it will be 876, and next time it will goes to 8760. So the last time what we got is 8760 plus 5 will be 8765. So this is a value which has been printed over here. So it's all like an iterative process. So what's happening is we are using the while loop, right? So the loop will continue unless until it goes on, right? So the last iteration 0, 0 greater than 0, it won't work. Then it comes out and print the reverse number is okay. So reverse number has been printed. So just in case if I run it this time, I'll say 4569 and enter 9654. See reverse. So this is also one more example. So just for the sake of the students, what I will do is I'll just give these original example of 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Just someone wants to revisit this code, they can use it for understanding. So we have done the revision for the while loops, and the same case, for example, for the for loops, I'm assigning num equals to 12, right? This time, if I want to bring it as a multiplication table, just for example, to understanding. So var I starts with 1, I in range 1 to 11, right? So print num is nothing but 12. 12 is a into symbol. Then the I will be 1. First time 1 equals to here num into I. Num will be 12. I will be 1. 12 1 jar first time, right? Next time it goes to loop 12 2 jar. Why? Because it's a loop, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. It continues the loop. Just in case if I go with only 5, right? Let's run it. So what it is trying to do is see here for I in range 1 to 5. It goes on to 1, 2, 3, 4 only. Why? Because it starts with 0. So it gives only 4 12 1 jar, 12 3 jar, 2 jar, 3 jar, and all. So this is the for loop, right? That's the reason. So if I want all the iteration of 10, so we need to use 11, right? So let's run it. So it goes to 1 to 10, right? And that too in the iterative format, right? So here, just in case, if I don't want to use this num equals to 12, I comment it and I want to manually enter num value. I remove this num equals to int. This is simple code. Okay, num equals to int input display multiplication table of so and so. And if I say run this, okay, which multiplication table you want to have? It's for 6. Enter the value. It gives the 6 table, right? So the advantage of this for loop, see how powerful it is. So we are just giving it 2 lines of code, like for I in range 1 to 11 and print num is a value, whatever this value which you have picked up, 6, right? And then I will be 1, right? It goes on. So if you want to just give until like in 5 rows only, right? 6, 6 1 jar to 6 5 jar. So until only 5. But we just need to keep in mind that if you want to have 10, you need to give here as 11. Okay, so that's how it works in Python. So 6 1 to 16 jar, it gives the for loop. So let's pick one more example, like in, for example, like in Fibonacci series. Maybe someone have understood about Fibonacci series, but if you're new, then I'll give one example. Fibonacci sequence is is an integer sequence of 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So for example, 0 plus 1, okay, 0 plus 1 will be 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. 2 plus 1 will be 3. 3 plus 2 will be 5. 5 plus 3 will be 8. So this is what the sequence is. So just in reality, here, what I will ask is I'm going to define a function over here. I'm going to utilize if then else statements and also return statement, right? I'm going to define a function over here, right? And also I'm saying enter the terms, till how long you want to use the sequence for, it's like an infinity, right? So let's run this and then come back here, run. So number of terms, how many terms you want, like in 6 terms, okay? See, look at this number 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 terms. So with this Fibonacci sequence, so what it is trying to do, 0 plus 1 will be 1, 1 plus 1 will be 2, 1 plus 2 will be 3, 2 plus 3 will be 5. So it's printing the values over here, right? So printing the values over here. So sorry, let's take yeah, this case. So enter the terms. So it's enter the terms and printing the sequence, Fibonacci sequence. Okay, just the term is less than, so this one is less than 0, print enter a positive value, that is what. Okay, let's run this, and this time we'll say -4. Okay, I'll say -4. What will happen? See, please enter a positive integer. So for this condition, I'm saying if the term is less than 0, it says please enter a positive value. If the term is greater than 0, like 8, then it's printing the value. So the only thing what it is trying to do is whatever the value you enter, like when I say print the enter the term, like in 5 or 6 or whatever, it is assigning to n terms. And this time when you utilize this, okay, it keeps on using into the loop, right? Unless and until it terminates, like an n term equals to 8, right? So unless and until it goes on. So where it is going on, like here we have got a for loop over here, right? What are the value if I assign 8, it will pick up 8 and check. See, 8 is less than 0. No, it is greater than 0. Then it will print the Fibonacci sequence. It's print the statement, the Fibonacci sequence, and for it's a simple for loop for I in range of terms of 8 and print. It is calling this function fib recursion of I. That means it goes up until here. First time it will check 8. 8 is less than 1. Yes, right? So it returns value if it is less than 1. But if it is greater than 1, what it is trying to do is it calls a recursive function over here. This code is little bit typical, but when I say fib recursion means it is going to call this function again and again. Fib recursion of n minus 1 means 8 minus 1 will be 7 plus fib recursion of n minus 2, like an 8 minus 2. So it goes on into this loop. So just put it on a piece of paper and try to look for the if then else statement. So and so what it is trying to do is it goes on and it prints like a 0 and then 1 and 1. So just keep in mind that if it is starting with 0, right? So it starts with the like I in range, what it says like in range will be like 8. When I say 8, like a 0 to 8. Assume like the 0 to 8. So 0 to 8 in the sense it's like a 0 minus 1 plus again like an 0 minus 2. I think n return n fib recursion of n recursion of I. Okay, first time it is treating as 0. It's picking up with 0. It's going to the loop. Then it's picking up as 1, getting into the loop, and keeps on. So one thing we need to understand here is a Fibonacci sequence is an integer sequence of like a 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1 will be 3, 3 plus 2 will be 5, and 5 plus 3 will be 8. So the first two terms of 0 to 1, okay, and all other terms are obtained by adding the preceding two terms. So this is like a tricky logic which you need to understand. This means to say that nth term is the sum of n minus 1th term and n minus 2nd term. So there is a logic which we're trying to utilize. So this is a logic which is returning this function multiple times. So make sure that if you are using the functions, use the function and also the if then else statements, and you're using these for loops. So we're just trying to utilize how we can utilize the for loops and if then else, and also the functions. So let's pick up one more example, like a program to display all the prime numbers within an interval. Prime numbers in the sense, for example, we got I'm setting as a lower limit as 10 and upper limit as 30. Print prime numbers between lower and the upper limit. That means 10 and 30. So what it is trying to do is prime numbers like these are all prime numbers which can be divisible by itself only, like 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29. We can't divide by 2 or 3 or something like that. Either 11 can be divided by 11 itself. That is what the prime number is. So we can't go with the positive integer. That means it won't display any positive integer. Positive integer greater than 1, which has no other factors except 1 prime factors. So that's what we're trying to do is, so we just use the for loop for num in range lower comma upper. So we have when you run this report, right, like an program, when you run this program, so lower equals to 10, upper equals to 30, we already defined it. So the prime numbers between 10 and 30, lower and upper. So it takes like 10 and 30, and each time all prime numbers are greater than 1. That's a normal one condition. And num is in range, right? Lower num first time it takes as 10, right? 10 greater than 1. Yes, true. For I in range 2 to 11. So you're trying to divide by I, and unless and until it equals to 0, that means first time it will take 10. 10 divided by 2, yes, 5 equals to 0, right? So here it should be greater than. So if it is equals to like a 10 divided by 2 equals to 0, then break, don't print it. Okay, then it starts with 2, right? It starts with 2 and goes until num value. It goes on until the loop. So first time it will take 10, right? So 10, it won't work out. The next time is 11. 11 it does work, and then print the number. So next time after 11 will be 12. 12 if you divide it by 2, like in 6 equals to 0, it won't. So whenever you get a value remainder 0, so it breaks and it comes out. So this condition is not valid. It goes to the else statement. Okay. So it goes to the next for loop, right? So it goes to the for loop next one. So here, if you look at this, we didn't get 12, we didn't get 14, we didn't get 15, right? So we didn't get this uh, non-prime numbers. So just try to understand like what we are trying to achieve here, utilizing the lower number and the upper number, lower bound number and the upper bound number. And what we have the for loop, one if. So just based on the usage, we need to think logically what we are trying to achieve and how we are going to utilize this for loop and if condition, and advantage of break, when we can utilize a break and when we can utilize the else. So when I assign like an, if I say 10 to 50, this time lower is 10, upper bound is 50, and run. So this time I got all these prime numbers which can be divisible by itself, whichever the values it say. So that's the reason I gave a simple example. Like let's say 20, easy to manage. So between 10 and 20, we got 4 numbers which can be divisible by itself. That's what it is trying to achieve the value, like at 11, 13, 17, and 19. Okay. So last base, so this program is to create a pattern like in 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, and all. Just to simplify this, so what I'm trying to do is, until here to here, I'm going to create the upper triangle, and from here to here, I'm going to create the bottom triangle and printing the pattern, like in printing the function. So simple way, if I want to run this, so let's say run this, I'm getting the first triangle, like a pattern, like I've defined a function and k equals to 2 into n minus n. This is what I are trying to do. But uh, so what I'm trying to do here is I need to define n also. I don't need to define n, but of course n value will be passed from here only internally. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to create a pattern over here, that to the upper triangle. This is for the pattern upper triangle, and this is, for example, this is for the lower triangle, right? So lower triangle. So the combination of both upper and lower triangles I've added up in this code. When I add the whole, both the patterns, so it will create an diamond shape, right? So in simple, we just need to understand how we can utilize the loops. Like I've utilized the range, right? K equals to 2 into n minus 2x equals 0. So this is what I've utilized the logics to create the patterns. So I'm just increasing the value of x each time, and again end if it is the value matches and goes to the next line. So here to here, I've utilized 3 for loops, right? So make sure that, okay, this condition is matching, then goes to the next line. If this condition matching, then go to the next line. So this is what, when I say end is here we are utilizing the space also. Okay, this for this sake of space also, we are utilizing over here within the codes, right? So you don't need to be worry about these, okay, typical logics. So these are all just in case if you want to utilize it, how we can utilize your for loops and how we can utilize this nested for loops. If there are any for loops inside another for loops, we got like an nested for loops. This is what we are utilized it. And if I remove this bit, if I remove this portion, then also the program works, right? then also the program works, but I get only half of the pyramid, right? See, I get only half of the pyramid. So that's what, if I include it, so this is the second portion of the pyramid, right? So I just try to utilize like I separated over here also. Like if I remove some portion of it also, it might work, but at the end of the day, it might get into an see, yeah, it didn't work at all. Why? Because it's the missing code, right? It's unable to judge, right? So, but make sure that what is the purpose and where you want to use it, and that's what you need to understand. And for example, the simplest example which I'm going to teach in the last now is, for example, factorial of a number. Right, factorial of 6 will be like 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 is 6. So when I run this code, it is asking for a number. For example, 6, enter the number. The factorial of 6 is 720. That means when I give 6, it will multiply from 1 to 6 and gives the results. So initially, I'm assigning value as 1. And so here, num equals to input. Whatever the value we have assigned is 6 is will be assigned to num. And there is something called factorial is one more variable is 1. Num will be 6. 6 is less than 0? No. Sorry, factorial does not exist. That means just in case if I run this and say minus 4, right? See, sorry, the factorial does not exist for negative numbers. So it is picking up this element. Num value which I have entered is less than 0. That means, sorry, else num equals to 0, right? Else num equals to 0, and then the factorial of 0 is 1. So that means just in case if I run this code and say 0, okay? So just what I'm trying to do is, if the value is number what I enter is less than 0, then say sorry. And if it is equals to 0, then the factorial of 0 is 1. So this is for the condition, right? Else, if what will happen is whatever the value which I entered, like in 5, right? The factorial of 5 is 120. That means 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 until here only. 1 to 2, 2, 3 is 6, 6 for 24, 24 into 5 will be nothing but 120. So here it is coming to this particular for loop. I in range of 1, comma, num plus 1, and factorial of factorial into I. This factorial is nothing but 1. 1 into 1, and then 1 into 2. It keeps on ends until the range, whatever the value I've given as 5, the factorial of this number is. So this is what it goes until the loop ends. That means the condition matches. If I run it again, 6. So the factorial of 6 is 720. That means an example which I've given. What is the meaning of factorial? So there are many uses like in with the for loops and the while loops and if loops. These are all some simple examples. In the next session, what we'll try to do is in the week 6, okay, we'll talk about NumPy. And if time permits, then we'll start with pandas. So NumPy and pandas are the key topics in Python. And once you learn NumPy and pandas, that means you're good to understand lot many elements in Python, and you can utilize it for coding, like in Python coding. And there are graphical representations of these values also. We call as matplotlib and Seaborn. We have those things also. But in the next session, what I will do is we'll discuss about Python and uh, like in NumPy, and if time permits, we talk about pandas. Okay, so if you got any questions, you can post it here. And if you think that okay, we got enough information. I'm going to share this Python file. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this into the PDF format also. Okay. I'm download into this Python notebook format, right? Uh, yeah, I have this Python file over here. Right, I have the Python file, it downloads. And also this time I'm going to save it into the PDF format also, just in case if someone is not able to, okay, let's minimize it. Yeah, not able to open up the Python file, I can download into the PDF format as well. Yeah. Internal error. I'll have a look why this is giving the conversion issue. It might be some the problem with the Jupyter. I will use some other methods to download into PDF format so that you can straight away open up in PDF and go through this uh, code, all the codes from week 1 to week 5 so far, whatever we have discussed, just in case if you want to have this readable format. Okay, so you can still message me personally also if you have any questions, and you can also send me an email. And thank you all. See you in the next session.